Folk 1776. Give attendance to these words.
When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men
are created equal.
Yeah.
That they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. That they, among them, are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes disruptive to these ends,
it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
A prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes.
And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuse and usurpation, pursuing invariably the same object, it evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism.
It is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government.
The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
he has refused to set two laws, the most wholesome and necessary to the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance.
He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only.
He has called together legislative bodies in places uncomfortable, unusual, and distant, with the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people.
He has refused for a long time, after such disillusion, to cause others to be elected, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and the convulsions within. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to the laws establishing judiciary power.
He has made judges dependent upon his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount in payment of their salaries.
He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people.
He has kept among us here in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures.
He has effected to render the military independent of and superior to civil power.
He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution, giving his assent to their pretended acts of legislation.
For quartering large armies of troops among us.
For protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states.
For cutting up our trade from all parts of the world.
For imposing taxes upon us without our consent.
For depriving us, in many cases, the benefit of trial by jury.
For transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses.
For taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government.
He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us.
Here.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our cities, and destroyed the lives of our people.
He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy. Never, in all of our ages, has this seen before, and he is not worthy the head of a civilized nation.
Well said. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country.
To become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands.
He has excited domestic insurrection amongst us.
In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people.
We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions due, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states. That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved.
And for the support of this declaration,
with a firm reliance on the protection of divine power,
we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our